Maria, thank you for speaking with me today. How's your day going aside from, you know, everything being chaotic?
My day is going great. My mom is visiting from Colombia. My parents still in Colombia. All my family is in Colombia still, and I get the luck, the beauty of having her here this weekend. So I'm really happy.
So tell me about your latest film. You're very hard to keep up with in that you're working steadily here, and then you also have a lot of South American projects as well, but then there's also modeling, but you're also an entrepreneur. It's difficult to keep up with you, and that's a good thing, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time just staying still. I
Sure.
have a thirst for life. Like I really wanna just do a lot of things and like I get motivated and then I'm very creative and then I get into like all these ventures as you're saying like the I have the movies here coming in the States. I also have some shows that are actually airing in Colombia right now this month.
Hmm.
And then I have the production company and then I have the supplement company. So staying busy.
And is the latest movie The Ritual?
The latest movie is The Ritual, is the one that is coming up in June 6th, which is
Hmm.
very exciting. It's my first American movie in theaters, which is crazy. I don't know, like I've dreamed about moments like this for a really long time, and it's kind of like surreal that I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be in theaters in English in America. What in the world?
And when did you film that versus At the Sea? Because you have a mix of upcoming projects that we can't know about, projects we can know about, and things that are recent.
Yeah, that one we filmed last year in January, in Mississippi, Natchez, Mississippi, a beautiful town.
Yeah.
Um, and we spent there like around 2 months. And yeah, it's been a year and a half now, and it's finally coming out. I'm very excited.
What has been your most challenging role to date? I know that's a very complex question. Sometimes it's because the set or the budget is difficult. Sometimes it's because the character development is difficult. So do you have an easy answer for that, the most difficult or challenging role?
I honestly think that this one has been one of the most challenging ones, like the ritual, just because it was very real. We were saying the actual prayers of the exorcisms, and I believe in energies a lot, and we were just experiencing. I'm just gonna say interesting things unsaid.
Hmm.
I'm very perceptive to those kind of like changes and energy stuff, and that was challenging. So even though I had to stay open emotionally, I had
Hmm.
to still protect myself energetically, which was a very interesting thing to deal with. And of course, like you're dealing with such like intense emotions and actions that it was quite demanding.
And there's a great cast besides yourself. Al Pacino, Patricia Heaton, Ashley Greene, Dan Stevens. Had you worked with anyone from the cast before landing the role in The Ritual?
No, this was my first time working with them. It was quite amazing. Working with all was definitely a masterclass. Like even from the table read itself, I remember just I we were doing the table read and I kind of like forgot my moment because I was just starstruck, but just seeing him read
Sure.
his lines, like I was like, oh, it's my turn. So sorry. Uh, and moments like that kept happening where I was like, oh my God, I'm here. Like there were scenes that he was, I don't know, giving me all his intense emotions because Al Pacino is very like broad and like I I had like a chatter in my mind at some point that I was like, wow, this is crazy. Okay, keep going. It was quite amazing. And then the rest of the cast, everyone is like so talented and so nice and so great, so giving. Like everyone was just willing to give for each
Mhm.
of their roles. So it was an amazing experience.
Were there any funny moments on set? The reason I ask that is I find that usually horror movies, the second that they say cut, people are just laughing their brains out.
I wish this one felt kind of like very intense.
Oh.
I'm trying to think. I mean, funny things were like the stuff that was happening to us on set. Like I don't know, like or like outside of set. Like I remember my fiance came to visit one time,
Hmm.
and I don't know, just weird. I don't know, like the water started to open and the door kept opening. He's like, "You're opening the door," and I'm like, "I'm not opening the door." So it's kind of like it's scary, but it's kind of like funny. Like, oh wow, this is actually this is actually happening. Yeah, I think I would say like in the movie and set itself, it was more like the scary, intense moments. Everyone was relieved to just go home. Everyone was like, oh my God, that was a lot.
That's very interesting you said that because usually when you're in a movie like that, you would go with big stars and it's a big, production. You go, I want this to last forever, and then you're sad when you're going home. In this case, because of all the supernatural things, it sounded like, yes, you did actually want it to end early.
Yeah, though we did have that a little bit of that at the end. Like, you spend like those 2 months with the same people and you build close
Hmm.
relationships and then you have your routines.
Hmm.
And yeah, of course it's sad to have like that breakup. But overall, it was so demanding, I think, for everyone that everyone was kind of like, whoa, we need a break. We really need to rest.
Well, At the Sea has a lot of funny people in it. Jenny Slate, Dan Levy, Murray Bartlett, and all that. Was that at least a little less scary and a little more relaxed?
Yeah, that was very, it's a complete different note. No scares, just
Yeah.
really good, heartfelt, emotional, deep emotional scenes that everyone handled with such care and beauty. The director, Cornell Madrusco, he is a very interesting director. I've never worked with someone that has been able to touch in such deep manner, but also like allowed me to feel free. Like I never felt that he was directing me. He was just
Hmm.
silently guiding me. And then I was like, oh, I see where you took me. That's nice. I like it. It was a very nice experience.
So, with naming these movies and then also your work on Griselda and Crescent City, it doesn't sound like you ever film in New York or Los Angeles.
No, I don't. I actually have never. Oh, well, Griselda, that's not true. Griselda filmed here in LA. I live in LA, and that's what brought me to LA in the first place. So that's been the only one. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's the one time that you filmed in Los Angeles, but you moved out to Los Angeles to be able to make more film and television projects, correct?
Correct. I remember finishing a project. It was a novella, a
Yeah.
telenovela in Colombia. And I was kind of like craving more. I knew that I wanted something that allowed me to explore human emotions in a deeper manner, that had a more elevated cinematography and that I could have more time to create because in telenovelas you do 29 scenes a day. It's a really fast
Yes.
pace. And I wanted to be able to take more time. So yeah, I guess like when Griselda came, I was like, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna give it a chance. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. I had finished that project in Colombia and I knew what I wanted, and it was kind of like, oh, perfect next step. And it's been good so far. I'm very happy and grateful.
Well, there's two more topics I want to ask you about, and then I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your day. Is that fine?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. First thing, I'm very intrigued by the work that you did for MTV News in Latin America. Do you have a favorite interview or two that you did in your time with MTV News?
Oh my God. One of the, I would say it was probably the first interview I did. And it was not the best interview. So that's not why it's my favorite, is because it was my first one. And the one that I did just like a very interesting I would say like so I'm gonna tell you what happened. I was interviewing a band in English, Congos was the name of the band. And I said, what's been your greatest hits? And we were live. And it's MTV, all the energy is like
Yeah.
a lot, young, whatever. And I said, what's been your greatest hits? And the guy here understands what's been your greatest hits.
Oh,
And he says it live. And then like the camera comes to me. It's my first interview. I'm like shocked. And I don't know, everyone started laughing, and then they started telling like the story about this girl over the weekend. I don't know, it was like the whole moment just filled with like laughters, and it was like, I don't know, really great, and everyone had a good time, and kind of like allow us to kind of like break the ice, which was good for me because it was my first interview and I was so nervous. So that moment I was like, oh, good start for to this job. I was very young. I was 16. So, you know, that was one of my favorites. And then, I love music, and everyone just comes with such different perspectives and different kind of like backgrounds. And it was very fun to get to do that for 3 years. It's a really fun
Sure.
job.
And last thing I want to ask you about, you've also found success with your supplement company, Fungibles.
Yes,
Has
Fungibles.
that ever overlapped at all with your acting career, or do people just not realize it's the same person doing both of those?
Um, Interesting. Last week we were doing some content for Fungiments, and we were out in the streets, and we have this character called Mr. Prune. Is a big prune because we have a product that is called Super Prune. Is a prune turned gummies, and he has superpowers because he has a chamomile, ginger, and like other things that help you stay regular.
Hmm.
And we were out with this character, and it usually calls people's attentions. People want to take pictures with them, and I
Sure.
run around doing interviews. What do you do here? And we go around asking about people's digestion. And one person, I was in a coffee shop, was like, "Oh, sure, you can interview me." And I sat down with her, and then I'm talking to her, asking her all the questions. And then later that night, my manager calls me. He's like, "I think you just interviewed one of my colleagues. Did you interview a girl called Kim?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." Like, she later realized that I the actress that his colleague represents, and I don't know, it was an interesting coincidence. So I guess like that's one of the times where people kind of like, wait, I know her, but like, is she? Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Small world. Well,
small world.
I'm glad to hear you have so many interesting projects going on while business is also very good. So looking forward to what's to come. And for people to track you, what's the best way to track you? Is it Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram is my biggest platform. At Maria.Giraldo, Giraldo. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Paltrocast.